What's up, you guys? My name is Riley, and welcome to my first ever and BangerTV's latest edition of Overkill Reviews. As you guys can tell, we are still stuck here at home. We are still stuck in quarantine. I'll give you a little info on myself so you know what I'm about and what I get up to. I'm an editor at the Canadian-based online metal magazine, hellbound.ca. I listen to a lot of tech death, and I listen to a lot of death metal. But realistically, at the end of the day, I'll get down to pretty much anything. I'm a huge social justice advocate, and I love my cat probably more than I love myself. But we're not here today to talk about me, and we're not here today to talk about what I do. We are here today to talk about something way sicker. That is Necrot's new album, Mortal, released on Tankcrimes Records. So first, I'll give you guys a little info on the band and what they're about. We've got Chad Gailey on the drums, Sonny Reinhardt on guitar, and Luca Andrio on bass and vocals. They are from the Bay Area, California, formed in 2011. They've got 3 demos, a demo compilation, and their first debut album, Blood Offerings, was released in 2017, also on Tankcrimes Records. But with that being said, we might as well just get into it. So as you guys probably know, if you listen to a lot of death metal like myself, then you're familiar with the fact that it's not the most technical of subgenres. A lot of bands tend to fall into this rut where they use a lot of repetitive riff work, and it creates this gray space that's kind of dull and kind of boring. So a band will find a riff, think it's sick, they use it again, they use it a little bit more, maybe change up the tempo in there, but we still know that you're using the same riff, and then the album or the song is a little boring. I found that on Blood Offerings, Necrot kind of fell into this rut, and they had a lot of repetitive riff work going on. But the great news is, with Mortal, I definitely found that they have honed in on not using that repetitive riff work. So I don't think one time, not even once in this album, there was a song or a point where they used the same riff over again, and it got to that state where I was like, wow, this is a little bit dull. So that's super awesome. If you've been following them from the start as well, then you definitely noticed that they have just gone up with this production quality that they have. From the first demos to the demo compilation to the last album release until now, all their mixing and mastering, all their production quality has just gotten better. So that's great for us, that's great for them. But with that being said, it isn't overkilled. So Sonny Reinhardt in particular, their guitarist, he keeps it classic, he tunes his guitar down, but he doesn't use a whole lot of distortion, so it keeps that sound super natural. I love that. It kind of gave me some old Autopsy vibes, which I thought was super interesting because Greg Wilkinson actually recorded this album, and he recorded for Autopsy in the past as well. They have also found with their song structure and patterning, they kind of follow what I would classify as old reliable. So the first 4 songs on this album follow the same. You've got your intro, you've got your verse, you got a little chugging action in there, you get your solo going, you get your outro, follow suit with the next song. And that tends to kind of happen, but it works really well for the band, it works really well for the album, it works really well for the song, so why would you change it up if you found something that works super good, right? So I don't think that that's a problem. I actually enjoy what they're doing with that. The 5th song on the album, though, is where things really took a turn for the better for me. This is really where I bit into this album, and I thought, yeah, this is sick. At the start of the song, it's automatically, right off the bat, the tempo is a little bit faster than the rest of them, and then about 30 seconds into it, Chad Gailey gets in there on the drums and Sonny Reinhardt starts that chugging. But the sound of it can only be familiarized with some thrash-like origins. It's definitely a little bit thrashy. Don't get me wrong, I would never, ever categorize this band as a thrash band. I would never put them anywhere near the same boat. You gotta give credit where it's due, and it's definitely got a little bit of a thrash-like tendency in there in that song. The song also has my favorite solo, so that's great as well. Super sick. The next song in the album tends to follow in Pursuit as the first 4. But like I said before, Old Reliable. If it's working for you, it's working for your band. If it's working for everybody else, why would you switch it up? And then the last song on the album is definitely quite the death metal ballad. It clocks in at about 8 minutes and 30 seconds, I believe. The rest of the songs on the album clock in at about 5:30. It's also got the slowest tempo, which isn't a bad thing. It actually brings the album together around as a really, really beautiful whole when they slow it down and give you that lengthy outro. Super, super sick. So with that being said, we might as well get into the bad. So I don't particularly think that there's a lot of bad on this album. There was nothing that I listened through to and thought to myself, wow, I don't like this, or wow, I don't like that. Where it could get arguable is that it's just a death metal album. Necrot set out to make a sick death metal album, and that's exactly what they did. They are executing what they are going for, but they're not reinventing the wheel here, and you've probably heard this type of sound before from them or either from another band. So I don't want to say that it's unoriginal. It's just definitely staying classic. And that's not a bad thing. But if you wanted something that was a little bit more spicy or had a little bit more pizzazz and originality to it and something that would really kind of switch the game up, it's not that album. They just stay true to the classic death metal sound. So like I said, they set out to make this sick death metal album, and that is exactly what they did. They follow that classic sound. They are executing it well. The production value went up. They don't have that repetitive riff work. They're staying true to what they are trying to achieve. If you are looking for a death metal album that doesn't have any weird twists or turns, is just strictly death metal, this is that album for you. You're going to love it. We might as well get into the shoutouts. So I have 3 here for you today. The first one I'm going to give you is an EP that came out at the end of last month. The band is Æpoch, and it is their EP, The Scryer. It was out July 31st, self-released. If you're super into progressive, extreme metal, you're going to love this album. We always love supporting the Canadian bands as well, so definitely give that a listen. I have another Canadian one here for you as well. Is Toronto's death metal band Gutvoid. They're re-releasing their EP, Astral, Bestiary, so if you're not already familiar with that, definitely give it a listen. And the third one that I have here for you today is by a group of Michigan death metalers. They're called Recorruptor. It is their new album, The Funeral Corridor, out August 21st. It was recorded at Broken Monolith Studios, but what I thought was something cool was that it was mastered by Brody Utley from the band Rivers of Nile, and I super dig that because I super dig me some Rivers of Nile, so that's sweet. So definitely give all of those a listen. You're going to love them. Let us know what you're thinking in the comments section below. Stay safe out there and keep it real. Thanks.